Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and I'm here to talk about Game 114 of the regular season, where the Astros win 7-5 over the Oakland Athletics. And man, hear me out on this wild concept, right? You have two teams. One that's at the top of the American League, the best team in the American League. And then you have another team who's at the other end of that and isn't the best team, is, one might say, sucking the algae off the bottom of the barrel in the American League. And you put those two teams against each other. Would you believe me if I told you it would be very, very difficult for the good team to beat the bad team? Astros baseball. So I'd actually forgotten this, and I'm recording this now after the video has been all recorded. I was just about to start editing, and then I remembered, which is the news that broke today, which is pretty heartbreaking if I'm being honest. Michael Brantley received shoulder surgery today, or yesterday. It was announced today that he is done for the season. And that's awful. He has been, for 4 seasons now, I've always called him the metronome of the lineup. You can always just set him somewhere in the lineup and you don't have to worry about it. And that has been such a nice thing to have since 2019. And losing him for the rest of the season, and possibly in general, because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, I don't know if we bring him back, is gut-wrenching. I have, since the first time I watched Michael Brantley play as an Astro, I fell in love with him. I mean, he is such an aesthetically pleasing baseball player to watch. His swing is gorgeous. The way he tracks a ball is just textbook. Like, I've said it a few times, if you ever want to teach a person the fundamentals of hitting, it's Michael Brantley. No, he is not the best hitter in the league, but he is the best pure hitter in the league. The contact he makes is always great. He is always, Michael Brantley, unassuming player. He's never going to hit for power, really. I think he's had, 2 seasons where he's hit 20 home runs? But he's always in the top, in the 99th, the 100th percentile in expected batting average. It's because the contact he makes is absolutely perfect. And it has been, if it is over, and I really hope it isn't, because boy oh boy, I absolutely adore Michael Brantley. If his career with the Astros is in fact over, what a career he has had with us for the past 4 seasons. And boy oh boy, it has just been a joy to watch him for the couple of 100 games we've had the pleasure to. So I'm actually going to do my favorite type of video, which is the blow-by-blow, because to tell the full story of this game, I think you really got to go score by score to fully do it justice. And it starts with the Oakland A's, because of course they would score first. Why wouldn't they score first? Would get on the board first, where random generated player Jonah Bride would double, sending Idle Sim Vermeil Machine Holmes, making a 1-0 Oakland lead in the second inning, because of course they would. And because baseball is a fake sport played by fake people, a balk sends a run home in the third inning. Tony Kempin ain't easy, I miss him every day, is balked home because Luis Garcia existed the way he always has. He pitched the way he normally pitched, and they went up, not so fast there, Luis. You ever be sitting around with family you don't see that often, and you're just doing nothing, you're just existing, and they're like, why do you have such a sour look on your face? And you're like, this is just my face! I can only assume that's what Luis Garcia said when he walked over to the umpire and was like, why'd you call me a balk on that? And they're like, you can't do that. And he's like, that is how I have always pitched. Now, there's a few things that I have to talk about tonight because he did well. Yuli made a really nice decision throwing home in the same inning to gun down a runner. Yuli made a couple of nice plays tonight. There was the play where he had to dive off the bag to catch the ball and then still got the tag down that saved another run. He made a couple of nice plays tonight. He also had an RBI base hit. That being said, I still want Mancini to be the starter, just so we're clear here. I'm going to compliment Yuli a few times. I love Yuli as a person. He has done great things for this franchise. I want Mancini to be the starter. So we cruise to the 5th inning, and it's not great because Christian Vasquez pops up, and then Mauricio Dubon strikes out, meaning Altuve comes to the plate with 2 outs. And you go, well, that's not wonderful. You know, it would take a lot of 2-out magic for anything really to happen in this inning, and it's probably just going to result in sort of a weird, one of those funky things where Altuve either gets on, but then kind of gets his good deed wiped away because there's already 2 outs in the inning, or he just gets the 3rd out, and then instead of starting the order in the next inning with the actual top of the lineup. It's weird. We're just not too pleased with it. But Jose Altuve doubles, and then Yuli Gurriel singles to send Jose home. So the Astros get on the board. It's 2-1 Oakland still, though. Immediately, the Oakland A's decide, we're not stupid. We're going to have a mound visit and change pitchers. We're going to pull Adam Oller out of the game and put Sam Moll in. That is what we call a mistake. Because Yordan Alvarez, who is starting to come out of his slump, gets a single. All of a sudden, you got 2 men on. That's pretty solid. And then Alex Bregman, put respect back in his name, people. Alex Bregman is back. Walks. And the bases are going to be loaded for Kyle Tucker. And you think, man, this is a great position. Get an RBI, base hit here. Get something good. Maybe get the bat on the ball. Send 2 of them home. And then Kyle Tucker, deep to right field, and it is a grand slam. Tucker, funny story, I did not have an energy drink on standby for that bit, and given that he hit a grand slam, I had to do that. So I got the liberty to drive to a gas station at midnight and go get a Red Bull. And I know what you're thinking. Was it a good gas station? No, it was not. So the Tucker grand slam, the Astros go up 5-1, and they're not done in the inning, because then Jeremy Pena with an RBI double to send home Aledmus Diaz, and the Astros all of a sudden went from being down 2-0 at the start of the inning to being up 6-2, and in one inning completely flipped the game. So the Astros have this massive lead, and they got about this close to blowing it in the 7th inning. I don't know if this is a Dusty issue. I don't know if it's a Miller issue. I don't know if it's our pitchers have a really, really good way of speaking issue. But so many times this year, we leave our starting pitchers in for just an inning too long, and it either does come back to get us or almost comes back to get us. And if we hadn't had a massive cushion, it would have come back to got us tonight. Luis Garcia gave you 6 brilliant innings of work, and we tried to get a 7th out of him, and it very, very didn't work. You remove what happened in the 7th, you lose 2 runs, you lose 2 hits. He finishes the night with 6 innings of work, 6 hits, pair of walks, 6 strikeouts, pair of earned runs. That is a lot better than what he actually did, because then it's 6 innings of work, 8 hits, and 4 runs. And by the way, a couple of his hits were just bad BABIP luck. He was missing the barrel of the bat, and you might say, well, listen, they were still making contact. Barrel is when you really get a hold of it. Not missing the bat entirely, that would be a swing and a miss. He looked fine. I thought Garcia had a good night. Gave up some hard-hit balls, especially started to catch up to him in the later innings. I thought he was good tonight, but we tried to get the 7th inning out of him, and it very didn't work. So we pull Luis Garcia and put in Will Smith. No, thank you. And it doesn't go a lot better, because first batter he faces Sky Bolt doubles, because why wouldn't he? The idle sim and the random generated player that I talked about earlier both come home to score, and all of a sudden now it's 6-4, and it gets worse. Get a ground out from Nick Gallen. That's a positive. That's what you're looking for. A strikeout of Steven Piscotty, and you think, all right, maybe Will Smith can get out of this. Then you bring in a pitching change. Ramon Laureano singles, and it's 6-5, and you're starting to not feel too wonderful, because Ryan Stanton gives up the first hit that he faces. He would get out of that inning, not from anything he did. There was a caught stealing, which counts for an out towards him, which I think is kind of funny. And then the next inning happens, and it was not a whole lot better. Ryan Stanton has been very good this season, but oh gosh golly, he could not locate his pitches tonight. Ground out to Seth Brown. Sean Murphy singles. Chad Pinder draws a walk. You're not looking wonderful. Strikeout of Vermil Machine. And then John Bride walks. And the bases are loaded for the Oakland A's, and they are now a base hit away from retaking the lead in the 8th inning of the game against one of your best relievers. Because it just can't be easy, huh? Thankfully, Sky Bolt grounds one to the right side, and the Astros escape the 8th inning. Not the most confident way you'd want to, but they get out of it. And hey, you get one in the 8th inning. Jeremy Pena with some very, very savvy base running gets a single, steals second base, and then tags up on a line out. Gets over to third, and that helps because Mauricio Dubon sacked fly. He was aggressive on the base paths, and comes around to score to make it a 7-5 ball game, which, didn't think the 7th run would be too important not too long ago. Overall, in a vacuum, a solid night, right? Because the pitching staff did enough. No, it wasn't pretty or anything, but they did enough. And the offense was very, very good. 7 runs is a good night offensively. And even from that, Altuve had a base hit. That's a positive. Yuli Gurriel had a base hit. He had a couple of nice plays defensively. Please, though, I want Mancini more than anything else. Alex Bregman had a nice night. He had a base hit and a walk. Kyle Tucker seems like he has exploded out of his slump. He had a pair of base hits tonight. I believe 4 hard hit balls for Kyle Tucker. Yes, he did. Bregman also had a pair of hard hit balls himself. Jeremy Pena had a pretty nice night. Olemus Diaz, pair of base hits, also had a pair of hard hit balls. A good night offensively. But, oh boy, the pitching staff just wasn't looking too wonderful. Again, you can afford this because it's Luis Garcia, who is likely like your 4th or 5th, maybe even 6th starter, all things depending. But it is the A's. But let's all be honest here. No one really cares about this game. We care about tomorrow's game. For tomorrow night, the Oakland A send Zach Long to the mound, but the Astros send Lance McCullers Jr. to the mound in his first start of 2022. I am beyond excited, quite nervous, because, oh boy, the hype has been built up for me. I am so ecstatic to have Lance McCullers Jr. back. I've said it a few times. I can be pretty objective with like 99% of players. I absolutely can't with Lance. I absolutely adore him. And I am just so beyond elated that we finally get to see him pitch again this season. It felt like it was just kind of one of those things for a while. Like, oh yeah, when he's healthy again. And it's finally here. And I feel like I'm a kid on Christmas. And it's Lance Eve. So that's tomorrow at 7:10 Eastern, 6:10 Central. I'll be here afterwards to talk about it. And I'll see you all then. So that's all I would say for the evening. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Astros.